live on YouTube as well, so you can catch the live stream on our YouTube channel. And this morning, we're talking about NNPC explaining the fresh fuel scarcity in Lagos and Abuja. Rotus is with us. Good morning, Rotus, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Zibby. Good morning to everybody out there. Welcome to another week without fuel. So yeah, that's where we are.
Wow, that's like, good news and then not so great news, Rotus.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the cause of the scarcity this time?
Well, I'll just read the statement from the NNPC. In fact, I should even forward it to you as well. They're saying it was a hitch. So they're saying that the tightness in fuel supply and distribution witnessed in some parts of Lagos and the FCT is as a result of a hitch in the discharge operations of a couple of vessels. And then they said that they are working around the clock with all stakeholders to resolve the situation and restore normalcy. So that's all they said. They say it's a hitch. Remember last time it was weather. They said there was inclement
Right.
weather that was impacting the discharge of the vessels or something. And so now they're saying it's a hitch. That's all we're getting from them.
How long do you think this is gonna last this time?
Well, they didn't give any indication. They just said it's this. When did this start? This was since I think late Thursday, early Friday or so is when this began. And it's persisted all weekend long, and I've seen long lines around, certain parts of Lagos here. We don't actually know. I mean, they're not giving us any indication. Maybe they'll give us more details, but we have to prepare ourselves for another annoying disruption to productivity for many of us here.
Now, some suggest that this scarcity has been manufactured basically to perhaps slow down the protests, which are due to start in a few days. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm not sure if that's the case. When are the protests starting? So it's on the 1st of August, right? I
August.
think. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, I don't think so. Although, there could be some merits to that. But then the protests are by foot, right? So I think, well, you have mostly people just walking everywhere. So I'm not sure that's is something that's has some merit. But then if you think about it, I also heard that a lot of phones that were not linked to NINs were blocked
I
yesterday.
am a victim, Rotus, and my phone has definitely been linked to my NIN. Like it has been. I would never neglect something like that. So it's
Right.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So you've got, I mean, I am not dabbing into conspiracy theories here, but I mean, the NIN thing, and sorry about that, by the way, so that means that's going to cause a lot of disruption to a number of people, but, that has been around for a while where the NCC has said, look, if you don't link your phone, you're going to be, your line will be barred. So, again, these things have crept up saying that they're between fuel scarcity and cutting off of the lines. They're trying to disrupt protests. Again, the timing is leading a lot of folks to suggest these things. But, for a while now, they've been saying if you don't, if you don't link your NIN, they'll cut off your line, blah, blah, blah. So for now, I'll stay away from the conspiracy theories.
Yeah. And I'm not going to hit the streets to protest. So I don't know if I certainly don't believe that conspiracy theory as well, but it is a huge inconvenience. But you know what? I've thought about it. I'm just gonna go to a different network and register a new SIM and bid that network goodbye and
Oh, so
sayonara.
you're not gonna go
Oh
to your that
no, no, I'm not, because that is irresponsibility at work by this provider. So, I mean, they obviously don't care about my business. I'll just take it somewhere else. Might be an inconvenience to change numbers I get that sorted next few weeks. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I get you. Well, what if the other line, what if happens to the other line you have then that you got
it
to
won't
register
be
with?
because it's a new SIM, and I trust that this new company will be more responsible with managing data. Now, if I hadn't linked the NIN, I would say I deserve it, but I'm a very careful person, careful with everything. I would never neglect that. I've done that, and They told me this was years ago. So even
You
a
know, you
few
should use
months
your
ago, he did
power.
it.
Use your smooth FM power. And I know you have not mentioned their name. Just send some veiled threats over the
Those
air.
colors ain't gonna be so bright no more. All right. So coming back to the issue of these protests, though, what do you think of this entire situation, this cost of living protests?
No, I mean, it's not the first one, although I think this might be the most widely coordinated one. There've been protests in the past in pockets in certain states. It makes sense. Things are tough, especially if you don't have a job. Even if you do have a job, if you've got a family and you're trying to feed them, things have been very tough. Okay, just don't forget that these are twin-headed or a double-headed dragon of FX liberalization and also the fuel subsidy partial removal. So I totally understand inflation has been climbing, things have been tough for a lot of people. So, you've seen this also in other countries. So yeah, I mean, I can understand why this is happening.
Right. Well, let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981. Should that be a goal like the way it was in Kenya?
Yeah, Kenya's goal, at least the Gen Z people that put that protest together in Kenya, they wanted the finance bill or finance bill that William Ruto wanted to pass that was going to raise taxes. They wanted it repealed. They then wanted Ruto himself to go. He ended up wiping out his cabinets. So yeah, well, I guess you can just have a protest to express your displeasure with policy. That's a goal in of itself to get the attention of governments. So yeah, I mean, beyond that, yeah, unless it depends on how coordinated this thing is and what kind of message there is from this. But I think the main message here is that things are really rough for a lot of people. So that in of itself is a goal.
Hmm. What are the possible impacts or economic impacts of these protests if they do go on?
Well, I mean, yeah, it depends on if there's disruption to work. But I don't think anything compares to the economic disruption from fuel scarcity, where you have to sit in line for hours to fill up your car. That's the opportunity cost of that is time that could be used in productive economic activity. So the fuel scarcity alone is a productivity hamper. But, I mean, normally with protests, people can't, depending on how severe they are, people can't go to work or you may not be able to purchase certain things. So there's a hit there to where once anything that impacts productivity, and Nigeria lags behind in terms of our peers, in terms of productivity. Anything that lacks productivity or hits productivity is going to definitely result in a cost to everyone.
All right, let's see what messages we have coming through. Fine. Oluboroko says, I'm also of the school of thoughts that believe this new fuel scarcity is to slow down the process. Taya says, why not just port to a different service provider? That way you get to keep your contact and NPC and excuses. Definition of 5 and 6 with incompetence. I don't know if I can port, considering the line is now barred and inactive.
Right.
I'll see
Exactly.
about that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get a new SIM. All right. Okay. Some people are saying, you know what, this has to go on. We need the government to listen. Things are hard. What can the government actually do at this point?
Well, I mean, it's a communication thing. You have to just stress that you are doing what you can to alleviate what's going on. I don't think they can reverse anything. I think the exchange rate now is at 1,006 as at Friday. I have to check and see what it's trading at. That's where we are now. And I don't think they can, go back on reinstating fuel subsidies because that will send another message entirely to rating agencies and global investors and so on. So at this point is to try and announce more moves towards alleviating the situation. There was that trucks of rice that they distributed last time. And then they've got to be able to, talk about welfare distributions to the poor. They've got to communicate. That is the main issue now. And I think above all else, I mean, we've been hearing from the government saying, listen, we hear you, we hear your right to protest and so on and so forth. So the attention of government has been, they've gotten the attention of the government now. But going forward, it's got to be a communication thing, and you've got to, explicitly say what it is you're going to do to the public so that the situation can be alleviated.
All right, and Nairametrics and Business Day, we do understand they've sort of been digging into imports from Malta since Dangote had made an allegation against the NNPC. Can you give us the background on this? We've got
Yeah, very quick.
30 seconds.
Yeah. Just, in Dangote's back and forth with NNPC, he suggested that there was a blending plant in Malta, which is in Europe, small little country. And Mele Kyari, the group CEO of NNPC Limited, said that's not the case. That we're in basically a blending plant. You basically just, it's for downstream oil and gas products. You just use the plants. It's not quite a refinery, but you blend certain items together and get finished products from that. So Nairametrics and Business Day were digging into the numbers and showed that we just had imports of refined petroleum products coming from Malta, a spike in the second quarter of 2023, second, third, and fourth quarter. Meanwhile, the prior 5 years or so, between 2017 and 2022, there was no imports coming from Malta, and all of a sudden we had a spike in 2023. So it's raised some eyebrows as to whether or not that allegation is actually true. So that saga is still ongoing between the Dangote and the authorities.
All right. Well, that's where we'll leave it this morning on Business Express. Thanks for your messages. Thanks for listening. And thanks, Rotus, for being on the show this morning.
Thank you so much, Zibby. I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.
Do stay with us. There's more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.